Hello, I am Reverend Irene Smith, and I'd like to welcome you to Generationally Speaking. Here at the table, we come and we discuss life issues, no matter what they might be. As we sit at the table with each generation, we all learn, we all grow, we all are inspired.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Generationally Speaking.
Well, we have the wonderful world of e-reads, electronic reading now. And so I share with parents all the time the wonderful programs that we have where a child can read electronically.
Mhm.
And in this electronic reading program, there are programs where an author can read to you. And as that author is reading to you, words will light up so that you will be able to follow and you will hear the pronunciation and the projection of words and how to put sounds together. And that's a wonderful thing because oftentimes we're just reading straight. We're not trying to understand the word and the word meaning, and we're not trying to understand sentence structure. But through the help of e-reads, electronic reading, they're able to develop that skill. And so I'm always introducing electronic reading because kids have iPhones now, they have iPads now. And instead of you playing games, download a book. Download a book. And truth be told, everybody, no matter what age you are, loves to be read to. Whether you're reading the Bible, because the Bible is electronic now. It's they have electronic programs to get you through the Bible. So resources are there. You just have to have a made up mind that that's what you're going to do. Sometimes for a parent, because they're working, they have other things on their mind, and they're leaving it up to the school system, they're leaving it up to the teachers to teach this reading. But as parents, it starts at home first. It starts at home first. And then once we have laid the foundation at home, then that child is able to go into the school system and be willingly taught. And there again, the child has to be willing. At the age of 5, that child has to be willing. Once you've introduced them to the library, once you've introduced them to great books, and they find the authors and the subjects that they like to read about, that makes it even better. Because once you've tapped into a child and what that child loves to read or loves to study, the sky is the limit.
I know for my children, when they were younger, I would take them to the library, and I had one. He got the same types of books over and over. He didn't deviate. I was like, don't you want to try that? He read the same books, and the librarian encouraged me to just let him get those books, even though I wanted to for him to have a variety. But as a result, he knows everything there is to know about an airplane, because that boy read every book over and over. I was like, didn't you read this book before?
And I'm pretty sure you didn't stop there. You checked out other books so that he would be able to make choices and make decisions and, be able to branch out. Because if you don't put it there in front of them, if you don't have it there in the home, then they can't explore other options. Yeah. So even though they love that one subject or that one author, tell them there's plenty more that's just like that they can adventure through.
Yeah. What do you say to a parent who perhaps is not a great reader, but they want their child to read?
Sometimes parents will let you know that, and then sometimes you can just pick up on it, but you never want to embarrass anybody. Mm-hmm. So you just continue to give them the resources that are there. You let them know what's available to them. And you'll see that spark in their eye because you've caught their attention with something. And so, you never want to draw too much attention to what they can't do, but you want to let them know what is available for them so that they will have that choice and that they can make that decision to go further with it. And it's a hard conversation. Mm-hmm. I mean, sometimes I've talked to some parents and we just end up in tears and we cry together, but I let them know they're not alone. They are not alone. They are not the only ones with this struggle, and they won't ever be the only ones, but there is resources, there is support for you. And I'm here for you. And whatever we can do together, we will grow together.
So your first year, your second year, when did you become comfortable with going forward and saying, you know what, I want to institute this program. I want to start this program?
Well, I saw the need in my community, in my friends' homes, in their friends' homes where there weren't books. There wasn't conversation about authors and titles, and there wasn't any conversations about school and grades. And so I began just to have those conversations with them. And I knew that I had to start early, as far as mommies that are pregnant, reading to that child while that baby is in the womb. When that baby comes out, still continue to read. When that baby is introduced to the world, let me say, continue to share the love of reading with that child. Take that child, no matter how young, to the library. Introduce them to that wonderful world. And so once you get that routine of having books in the home and reading to your child and taking them to the library, even to bookstores, Barnes and Noble, Books A Million. We have little local mom and pop bookstores, taking them there and letting them know that there are books that are available here as well. It's a treat to go to Barnes and Noble. My son knew it was a treat to go to Barnes and Noble and Books A Million. For one, they were 40 miles away and we had to travel. So we would be hyped up and excited about, we've already planned this time to go and what we're going to do when we get there. And it's just like the library, but in this case, we're not borrowing. We're actually going to buy. So I was able to teach him another skill, how to save his money so that he would be able to buy the books that he likes and enjoy the authors that he likes. And so that's another thing that I share with my parents as well. Just don't stop at the library. There are wonderful bookstores, and Walmart has a wonderful selection of books. I mean, from Christian all the way up to, self-help books. I mean, they have a wonderful, wonderful selection. So just introducing them to those places is a plus, an advanced growth.
So we talked about children. What is it? What's available for seniors at the library?
There is so much available. We have GLS, which is the Georgia Library Services for the disabled and for the blind. And you don't have to be blind to receive these services. There are so many services within the Georgia public library system that adults can participate in. Like they have electronic reading for adults as well. And there are book clubs that have been created where our seniors can get together. I like to say book clubs for all ages, because we do have book clubs for all ages. And that is the time for us to get together and share with one another and read and share the love of that story with one another. And just to have somebody to talk to relate to one another is a wonderful thing. And, so many of our seniors and our elders, they feel alone, but through a book club, through a chess club, meeting at the library, they find new friends, they find a new love for reading. And it's just a wonderful thing to see happen in a library, in a bookstore.
And I understand the library also has computers that our seniors can have access to, and there's someone there that can help them with that.
Right. There are computer classes that are being taught based upon the patron's need, whether it's basic computer skills or if you need to learn how to do Word, Excel, any Microsoft Office Suite program. There are tech guys and women in our library system that are able to teach those classes and help you. At our library, we have 30 Chrome notebooks that are available for checkout. So anyone that needs a computer in the home or would like to advance their skills, they're able to with their free library card. And through the help of T-Mobile, a cellular service, we have like 10 hotspots, internet hotspots. So you can check out a computer and a hotspot and take that into your home and enjoy the love of reading or surfing the web, and just being able to explore and seeing what options that you can get yourself into, whether if you're trying to learn a skill or a trade, or if it's just for shopping, you have that option to do that with your library card. And with your library card, there are so many other free opportunities to visit museums, to visit the zoo for free, to visit state parks. Like here in the state of Georgia, we have a pass. It allows you to park for free. And if there is a historic venue on campus, you can visit that historic place for free, just with your library card. And so the Georgia Public Library System is awesome, and they are growing to provide, better literacy activities and adventures for the public to experience.
That's just amazing. Now, you gave us your title when we started as regional. So what does that mean, regional?
Well, regional means there are 6 libraries in our region. Mm-hmm. And about 8 years ago, I was given the title of Regional Children's and Youth Services Director. And what that just means is the children's directors in those other libraries, we get together and we meet and we strengthen each other and learn from each other to better help our children and families in our communities. And so that's a wonderful thing to meet. We meet twice a year, but if we need to meet in between, we can. But it's not so much about supervising them. It's more about us being a team and working together to better our communities. And so that title, I don't really pay it any attention, but it's nice to know that I'm not working alone. I'm not learning alone. I have other ladies that I can grow from. And it's just a great experience to be able to go into different libraries in our region and work closely with them. And if they need assistance, I'm there for them. If I need assistance, they're there for me. So it's one big help pod, one big family. So we're growing together.
So when you look at the composition, are you still the single one, or are there more minorities?
I am still the single one, the only African-American still full-time employed at our public library in our region. And here in this rural region of Toccoa, Georgia, we have lots of African-Americans in leadership, but we still have room to groom others that are growing up, to letting them know that they are leaders and that they can be in leadership positions. You just have to get yourself in position and be ready to tackle that, whether it's in the school system, whether it's whatever career path, nursing, or there's so many career paths. But if it's medical, you can be the leader and grow other leaders and mentor others, train those that are around you every day. Show them that, you don't have to stay at an entry-level job. There is room for growth. Just reach back and grab a couple with you and teach them and train them up as you go, because that's what happened to me.
Yeah. So do you have an opportunity to go out to schools and talk to students and to encourage them that this might be a career that they might want to pursue?
Absolutely. Now, I don't get great response from it, but it is something that I leave very impressing on their minds, because teaching others and sharing the love of reading with others, it's a great responsibility. Mm-hmm. Because once you're tutoring someone or training them up and you see them grow and you look back and you say, wow, we did that together. I was instrumental in helping him or her grow in that area. But teachers, they're slim in this area of where we live. There's lots of things that are going on in the school system and in the classroom where kids are more disrespectful nowadays. When we were in school, we didn't have that. I mean, we got spankings by the teacher. Then when we got home, we got a spanking by our parents. And so there's not that love anymore. It's a lot of disrespect. So a lot of people are moving away from teaching and working with children because, there are laws that need to be changed, and we need to change up some ways that we handle things in order for students today to look up and be respectful of our leadership in our school systems and in education, period. Yeah.
You know, I think when people think about librarians, they have this thought in their mind of something that they read or something that they saw of a person who is quiet, cocoon to themselves, not outgoing. But I don't think that's the case.
It's not. And once they meet me and a couple of my other colleagues, they find that to be different. And you have to be relatable in this field. Because they always think that we're supposed to be quiet and that we're mean and that we're strict. And that's not it. We like to have fun too. And we like to know what they're doing and what they're up to. And we want to be a part of that, even though they don't want us to be a part. So if we could be 2 steps ahead of them and learn some of their language. I don't like slang personally. I don't. But if that's what I got to do to relate to you, that's what I'm going to do. Because I want to let you know that there's so much more out there for you. And working in the library, it's just not like solitary. It's not boring. It can be very fun because you're meeting different people. We have people from all over the United States that have come to Toccoa, Georgia, because as you know, Toccoa is known for Toccoa the Beautiful.
Yeah.
Toccoa Falls. So we have lots of people that just visit this area just for those 2 things. So when they stop by the library, because the library is the hub of the community, it's where you're going to find out what's going on and what's happening in that community. So once people come, you're meeting new people, you're able to share with them your likes and your dislikes, and you're able to find out if they're a reader. And if they are a reader, then you're able to help them find all the books and all the series that they love to read. And by the time that you've done all that, that's not boring. That's very exciting. You've learned something from them and they've learned something from you. And outreach, being able to go out into the community and not staying within the 4 walls of the library, that's exciting as well. So, you know, anytime you get a chance to talk to somebody, you really find out what their foundation is and where they stand, and you're able to share with them. And you come across some that don't know the Lord, so you're able to share that with them because you're not within the 4 walls of the library. So you're able to be very freely with the love of Jesus Christ. And when you've done that right there, that's enough, because he is going to take care of the rest.
Well, there were 2 programs that I saw you do. One was you did a historical narrative about the slaves in Georgia.
Okay.
And I think that was in Livonia.
Okay.
You had been there, a museum. They had a museum that you visited.
It was in Cornelia, Georgia, in Habersham County. Oh man, a hidden jewel, a hidden jewel. There were local African Americans that have done great things. Picture and bios that were in that museum that I never knew of. Nobody had talked about this African American museum. Of course, it was housed with other things too, so I kind of feel like that might have overshadowed that. But I knew I had to go Facebook Live that day and introduce our communities to this information. Because if you wanted to know something about James Neal, who owned Moss Oval Neal Funeral Home, and if you wanted to know about his family and how he got started, that was in that museum. My father, Charles Green, who was the only African-American telephone man working for GTE in Toccoa, Georgia, for his information to be in that museum was shocking to me, because that's something that I hadn't shared with my community. So being there, and I was so blessed to have my grandson, my oldest grandson, with me that day, because he was like, "Oh, Nana, can we go now? I mean, this," and I was like, "No, I want you to read at least 10 or 15 things on this wall. And I want you to remember those 10 or 15 things. Remember something about that, because you're looking at these people every day, or these people have made an impact on your family's life, and you need to know who they are, who they were, and what they meant to our family." So that day was emotional. I was proud, I was excited, and I just had to share it.
Yeah, that was really good. And I mean, I'm with you. I had no idea that it even existed. And to hear that they had names of people that we know, and their history. That's just amazing. I
Yes.
think the other event that you had was so much fun. I said, I don't know how she thought of that one. And that is overnight with the teddy bears.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. See, that was another thing that I learned from another colleague in another county, one of my children's directors. She had did it for summer reading and it worked for her. And I said, you know what? I've got to do that too, because I've got to do whatever it is to get kids excited about reading. And kids still play with stuffed animals today. And they love those stuffed animals like they love their siblings. And they want you to take care of their stuffed animal like you would take care of your own child. And we ended up with 54 stuffed animals the night before summer reading started. And I had to plan activities for these animals and create narratives for these stuffed animals, because I wanted their caregiver to know that your stuffed animals are getting in trouble just like you. They are curious and they are happy to be in the library and they want to learn how to read too. That was a whole lot of work, but I would do it again because it brought joy and satisfaction to the children who took the time out to bring their stuffed animal to the library overnight.
It was awesome to see those kids bringing their stuffed animals to spend the night in the library, and then the next morning, we were talking about having breakfast and
Yes, yes. And when the children dropped their stuffed animals off, they had rules for me that they had written down that I must do before their stuffed animal went to sleep. And there were some things I had to do for a couple of stuffed animals before the child came to pick up that stuffed animal. So it was just like, wow, they're really serious about their stuffed animal. And I had to read a couple of books, storytime books, before that stuffed animal went to bed. And I had to take a picture or record it for that child. Now I was like, you really want me to do that? I read my stuffed animal a story every night. And Miss Chantel, I expect you to too. And I was like, okay, done deal. So I think I ended up leaving the library about 2:30 in the morning. It probably was 3 o'clock, but it was world worth it. And I will do it again.
Now, do you have a team that works with you on these activities, or is it just generic? It grows.
It's just me. It is just me. Now, my coworkers, they will do whatever I ask them to do, but I try not to ask so much of them because they have other tasks and duties that they have to do. So there again, God has gifted me with the talent to be able to plan and implement programs that can be successful, that can be huge with just little old me doing it. And so I just thank him for that gift. Now, do it always work out as planned? No. I'm very flexible. I have to switch things in and out all the time, but I make it work. And with God's strength, it happens and it just comes out successful. And I'm hoping that it has made a difference in somebody's family, in somebody's child, to let them know that literacy and reading is very, very important. And you can have fun doing it.
Now, I noticed that for the kids on their summer break, you don't let up. You have those kids come into that library with their blankets and everything else. That they got crayons, they got all kinds of things that you're doing. How do you come up with these ideas?
You know, the state of Georgia always gives us a theme for each year. And like this year's theme is Adventure Begins at Your Library. And with that theme being as broad as it is, I'm going to have to tap into everything I know. But our summer reading programs and our programs would not be as successful as they are without community involvement. There are several businesses, there are several restaurants in our community that partners with me, and we are able to make a successful, happy summer reading program. And our school system, I partner with our school system a lot. I'm so thankful for the school system that we have. We've gone through a lot of changes and we still have a lot of growing to do. But without their support, I wouldn't be able to do the things that I do. Our police department, our fire department. Let me tell you, we have a summer finale every summer. And it's a program where I reward the kids for all of their efforts in reading. And I call up the fire department and they come over and they plug up to the hydrant and they just turn that water on, and we're just able to have one big parking lot pool party. And they get involved and get wet. And I had to tell one of them, I said, now listen, the chief is not going to call me because you firemen are over here getting wet and having fun with us, are they? And they were like, no, ma'am, he's not. And one summer I looked up and the fire chief was getting wet with the kids as well. And so there I knew that right there, they look forward to it every summer as the finale. And like I said, without community support, you know, I know our programs will be good, but they wouldn't be as good as they have been without community support.
Well, let me just call you the gem that you are, and that God has blessed you and prepared you for the place where he has you seated. That all those years working with those 4 and 5-year-olds was purposeful, because he knew where he was going to take you, and all of that, you know, has helped you with patience and perseverance and creativity, all of those things. And so
Yes.
I'm just excited to be able to call you a librarian. And I know that when out in our communities that we go about, you talk about literacy. And I want our listening audience to know that literacy is important, and it's never too old. You're never too old to learn. And to learn how to read. And you go to your library, like you said, there are so many resources, but you don't know until you go. So
You have to come. That's right.
You have to. And then you can't be afraid to ask. And maybe you want to ask quietly, maybe you want to ask, you know, however it is, but you ask the librarian, and they are there to assist, they're there to guide, they're there to direct you, they're there to help you. So I say to my audience, you know, make use of your public library. So give us some parting words for those young people who are trying to figure out their next career path, and for those who, and the importance of literacy.
Get involved in your community. Go visit your public libraries. Every library is different. Every library has different services that you can partake in for free. And I encourage everyone to stop by their public library. And if it's a skill that you need to sharpen up on, you can do that at the library. Never be afraid to ask. If you don't ask, you'll never know. And one day you will end up regretting that you didn't ask somebody. And you'd be surprised. People want to share. People want to help, but they don't always know how. And so, but if you just share with somebody what your needs or concerns are, or how you would like to advance your life, I guarantee you will receive the help that you need. And like I said, getting involved with your community, your church family, just having friends around you, people that you can elevate with, that you can grow with. Don't be stagnant. Don't limit yourself. Tap into whatever it is that you can. Introduce your child to everything that this world has to offer. Because you know what? We only get one life. One life.
Amen. Well, we want to thank you so much for being our special guest here at Generationally Speaking. And I always say to my audience, make sure that you are inspired. God has purpose for our lives, giftings that each one of us has. So with your inspiration, go to the library and get some information.